If your manhood has stopped working the way it used to, if your mornings are quiet, your confidence slipping, and you are tired of pretending it doesn't bother you, then listen closely, because what I'm about to share may even shock you. You see, after treating thousands of men over the age of 60, I've discovered that the single most overlooked cause of weak erections is not low testosterone, it's poor blood flow. And the fix. It's not a blue pill, it's not an expensive device. It's not even a supplement. In fact, it's a simple vegetable that you can eat every morning, and within days, your circulation, your energy, and your manhood can begin to return. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I'm a men's health specialist with over 30 years. Experienced helping older men regain their strength, confidence, and vitality. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through a powerful, natural solution backed by science, trusted by real patients, and easily available in every grocery store. Because when you start your morning with this one food, everything changes. Blood pressure stabilizes, nitric oxide rises, oxygen flows exactly where it's needed, including down there. Most men don't know this. That's why I urge you stay with me. Until the very end, I'll explain exactly how it works, how to use it, and why so many men see results in as little as 7 days. Before we dive into the full method, take a second to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss another tip that helps you claim your strength, energy, and confidence. And if this message speaks to you, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I know how to serve you better. Let's begin with the real reason so many men over 60 struggle with weaker erections and why it has far more to do with blood flow than with testosterone. 1. The forgotten reason. Erections get the forgotten reason. Erections get weaker after 60. I want to begin with something most men never hear. Not from their doctor, not from their friends, and certainly not from TV commercials. And yet, it's one of the most important truths I've learned over my 3 decades as a men's health physician. Erections don't just disappear after 60 because you're getting older. That's the myth. The real reason. Your blood simply isn't moving the way it used to. I've had countless men sit across from me. Good men, strong men, men who've worked hard their whole lives, and they look me in the eye and say, "Doc, I think I'm just past my prime." And I look right back and tell them, "No, you're not. Your prime is still in you. It's your circulation that's been neglected, not your manhood." You see, your ability to get and maintain an erection depends on one key system in your body: blood flow. More specifically, the flow of oxygen-rich blood into the tiny vessels of your penis. And that flow is powered by a gas your body produces naturally, something called nitric oxide. When you were younger, your nitric oxide levels were high. That's why everything worked so quickly, so icily, often without much effort at all. But after 60, your nitric oxide drops, sometimes by more than 70%. Your arteries begin to stiffen. The inner lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium, becomes less responsive. As a result, the surge of blood that once filled your penis, like a balloon, is now more of a trickle. You're not broken, your body's just asking for help. And here's the part that hits home for so many of my patients. This change doesn't just affects your performance. It affects your confidence, your sense of self, even your emotional connection with your partner. The worst part, most men are never told this is fixable, but it is. And in a far more natural, sustainable way than you might think. Because believe it or not, there's a simple vegetable, one you can eat every morning that helps your body rebuild nitric oxide and restart the engine. That drives your erections, energy, and circulation. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what that vegetable is and why it's far more powerful than most pills on the market. The one vegetable that rebuilds circulation in older men too. The one vegetable that rebuilds circulation in older men. When I first discovered the power of this vegetable, I'll admit I was skeptical. Not because I didn't believe in food as medicine, but because it just seemed too simple. Could something so ordinary, so inexpensive really make a difference in how blood flows to the most vital parts of a man's body? But then I started seeing the results. And I wasn't the only one. My patients, men in their late 60s, 70s, even early 80s were coming back after just a few weeks and saying things like, "Dr. Khera, I woke up firm again," or, "For thy first time in months, I felt ready like I used to." And all they had changed was adding this one food to their morning routine. The vegetable I'm talking about is beetroot. Yes, beets. The deep red root that often gets pushed aside on dinner plates or forgotten at the bottom of a salad bar, but hidden inside that humble vegetabilis. A compound your aging body desperately needs. Dietary nitrate. When you eat beets, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, the very same gas that tells your arteries to relax, open up, and allow blood to flow freely. What's remarkable is how targeted the effect can be. Increased blood flow doesn't just help your heart or your brain. It also improves circulation to your pelvic region, including the sponge-like tissue inside your penis that fills and expands during arousal. For older men, this is everything. You're not just improving your ability to get an erection. You're feeding the system that supports vitality, energy, and confidence. And there's something else I want to share, something personal. Years ago, I worked with a gentleman named Charles. He was 71, a retired engineer, and he hadn't had a full erection in over a year. We made one simple change. We had him start each morning with a glass of fresh beet juice. Just 6-0. That was it. By week 2, he called me emotional and said, "Dr. Khera, I feel like my Zulfogan." That's when I knew this wasn't just theory. It was real. Now, what actually? It happens inside your body when you eat beets. How does that nitrate become nitric oxide and restore blood flow where you need it most? Let's break it down and you'll see why timing and preparation matter more than you think. 3. What happens in your body when you eat beets? When you eat beets now, you might be wondering, how can something as simple as a beet actually help restore the blood flow you had when you were younger? I used to ask the same question, but once you understand what's happening inside your body, it all starts to make sense. And honestly, it's a bit like watching a slow-moving miracle unfold right beneath the surface. Here's what happens when you eat beets. You're not just getting fiber or antioxidants. You're giving your body a direct source of dietary nitrates. And those nitrates are the raw material your body uses to produce something called nitric oxide. It's a gas, invisible and silent, but it plays one of the most powerful roles in your vascular system. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels to relax. It tells your arteries, open up, let the blood flow. That's the signal your body has been missing. The journey begins in your mouth. As you chew the beet, bacteria on your tongue begin converting the nitrates into nitrites. Then, as you swallow, your stomach and bloodstream continue that process, finally turning those nitrites into nitric oxide. Within minutes, you may feel a lightness, a sense of better oxygenation. And over time, if you stay consistent, stronger blood flow, not just to your heart and brain, but to your lower body, where many men begin to feel the years catching up to them. I've had men tell me, "Doc, I thought I was done. I thought the best part of life was behind me." But after 2 weeks of morning beet juice, they're calling back, telling me they feel sharper, more energetic, and yes, more responsive and intimate moments. It's not just about sex, it's about identity. It's about waking up in the morning and knowing your body still listens to you, still responds. And here's something even more exciting. Beets don't just help with blood flow. They actually protect your blood vessels from damage, reduce inflammation, and can even help lower blood pressure over time. That means they're not just fixing any problem. They're strengthening your entire cardiovascular foundation. But of course, for all this to work, you need to know how to use beets the right way. The timing, the method, even what to eat with them, can make or break your results. So, let me show you exactly how to make beets part of your morning and how to get the absolute most from every bite. 4. Real results from real men over 6060. There's something powerful about seeing the science come to life, not just in clinical trials or textbooks, but in real people. And I can tell you with absolute honesty, some of the most rewarding moments in my career have been hearing the quiet hope return in a man's voice when he says, "Doc, it's working." Let me tell you about Mr. Anderson. He was 67 when he first came to see me, a reader teach us, proud, but clearly weighed down by something unspoken. He told me he hadn't had a full natural erection in over 8 months. No morning stiffness, no arousal that felt complete. It was starting to affect his marriage, but more than that, it was changing how he saw himself. He said, "I feel like my body's betraying me, and I don't know how to fight back." We talked about blood flow, nitric oxide, and the role of diet, and I suggested something simple. I asked him to start his mornings with half a cup of fresh beet juice. That was it. No prescriptions, no pressure, just a quiet commitment to himself. After about 2 weeks, he called my office. His voice was lighter, almost surprised. He said, "I woke up this morning, and there it was. Not weak, not partial, solid, and I didn't need anything extra to make it happen." I could hear the pride returning, the dignity. It wasn't about performance, it was about wholeness. He felt alive again. Mr. Anderson's story is not unique. I've seen this play out time and time again in plumbers, accountants, veterans, pastors, men who thought their best years were behind them, only to find that with a little support and consistency, their bodies still had more to give. What I want you to hear is this: you are not beyond help. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's waiting for the right signal, the right support. And when that comes through something as simple as a glass of beet juice, it reminds us just how intelligent and resilient the male body really is. But like I said before, it's not just about the beet itself. It's about how and when you use it. So now, let's walk through exactly how to prepare and take it each morning to unlock its full potential. Timing is everything, and the next few minutes will show you why. 5. When and how to eat beets. For when and how to eat beets for maximum circulation. If there's one thing I've learned in my years of helping older men restore their health, it's this: timing and consistency can make all the difference. You can have the right food, the right nutrients, the right intention, but if you use them the wrong way or at the wrong time, you won't get the results your body is capable of, and that's especially true with beets. Now, I know some men get overwhelmed when they hear about a new routine. They think they need to change everything overnight or prepare complicated meals. But the truth is the way to get the most out of Beets is incredibly simple. And once you feel what it does for your body, you'll want to keep going. Morning is the golden window. That's when your testosterone is naturally highest. Your blood vessels are most responsive, and your body is primed to absorb nutrients. Eating beets on an empty stomach, or drinking beet juice first thing, allows your body to convert those precious nitrates into nitric oxide far more efficiently. I've had men try taking them later in the day, or after a heavy breakfast, and the difference in response is night and day. So, here's what I recommend. Start with half a cup of roasted beet slices, or blend a small beet into a morning smoothie. For those who prefer convenience, a scoop of high-quality beetroot powder in warm water can do the trick just as well. You don't need much. What matters is that you do it daily before your first meal. One more thing I always share with my patients. Avoid brushing your teeth immediately before or after I know it sounds strange, but the friendly bacteria in your mouth help start the process of converting nitrates into nitric oxide. If you use strong mouthwash or brush too soon, you might block the very reaction your body needs to boost blood flow. It's small details like this that turn a good habit into a great one. And a few extra inches of blood flow can mean everything when it comes to confidence, energy, and intimacy. But as powerful as beets are, they are not magic. They need the right environment to work. And unfortunately, many men unknowingly lies about their results each morning by combining them with the wrong foods. In the next part, I'll show you exactly what to avoid, and the surprising breakfast mistakes that may be holding you back. What not to eat in the morning if you want better erections. 6. What not to eat in the morning if you want better erections. It's easy to focus only on what to add. The beet juice, the morning routine, the circulation boosters. But over the years, I've come to realize something just as important. What you remove from your mornings can matter just as much, if not more, than what you include. You see, I've had patients come to Messi and Doc. I'm drinking the beet juice like you said, but I'm not seeing much change. And when we looked a little deeper, we'd find their breakfast habits were quietly working against them. Foods they thought were harmless or even healthy were actually narrowing their arteries, inflaming their blood vessels, and blunting the very nitric oxide boost we were trying to achieve. One of the biggest culprits: processed breakfast meats, bacon, sausage, deli ham. These foods are loaded with sodium and preservatives that constrict blood vessels and reduce circulation to your pelvic region. Then there are their refined carbs, white toast, muffins, pastries. These spike your insulin and crash your hormones, including testosterone, and too much caffeine on an empty stomach. That can increase cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, which tightens blood vessels and makes arousal more difficult. Now, I'm not saying you can't ever enjoy those foods again, but if you're trying to restore your manhood, truly give your body a fighting chance, then the first hour of your day needs to support healing, not block it. Instead of processed meats, reach for a boiled egg or a small handful of nuts. Instead of sugary toast or cereal, try a slice of avocado on whole grain bread. These kinds of foods pair beautifully with beets. They provide healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals that nourish your blood vessels and support hormonal balance. When you make that shift, removing what clogs your system, and replacing it with foods that nourish and protect, your body responds, the blood flows, the warmth returns, and for many men, that first natural erection after weeks or months feels like life breathing back into their sense of identity. But timing isn't just about food, it's about biology. There's a reason why I recommend doing all of this in the morning, not later in the day, because something powerful happens in your body each morning that makes this the perfect window to rebuild your strength. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly what the timing of your morning habits could change everything. 7. Why morning matters more than you. Why morning matters more than you think. Over the years, I've noticed something powerful about men who commit to morning, especially those over 60. It's not just that their bodies respond better, though that's certainly true. It's that the mornings become a kind of quiet turning point, claiming a moment where, instead of letting the day dictate how they feel, they choose to set the tone with strength, purpose, and healing. Biologically, morning is a golden window for male health. Your testosterone levels are at their daily peak, which means your body is more naturally responsive to stimulation, both mentally and physically. Your blood pressure tends to be slightly elevated in the early hours, which may sound like a bad thing, but it actually primes your circulatory system for action if you'll feed it the right support. When you consume nitriteric foods like beets in the morning on an empty stomach, your body is far more efficient at converting them into nitric oxide. That gas, as you now know, tells your blood vessels to relax and expand, opening the gates for oxygen, nutrients, and blood to reach every corner of your body, including the places that define your intimacy and self-confidence. But there's something deeper I've noticed in my patients. When a man begins his morning with intention, choosing to nourish himself instead of skipping breakfast or grabbing something fast and processed, he begins to reclaim control over his health. It's a psychological shift as much as a physical one. And for men who have felt powerless in their bodies for too long, that shift can be life-changing. I remember one patient, a 72-year-old former Marine, who told me, "Doc, I didn't want a shortcut. I want a mission. I want a reason to wake up and fight for my body again." We started small, a glass of beet juice, a 10-minute walk, a better breakfast. Within a few weeks, he wasn't just having better circulation. He was sleeping better, laughing more, showing up differently in his marriage. That's what morning routines can do. They don't just heal the body, they ensure the man. Now, you might be wondering, how long does it take before you start feeling these changes? When do the benefits really begin to show up in your energy, your performance, and your confidence? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. Because the timeline off salts may surprise you, especially if you've been stuck in the dark for a while. 8. What to expect. The what to expect. The timeline for results. Timeline for results. One of the most common questions I get from men when I recommend a natural approach like beet juice is this: "Dr. Khera, how long until I actually feel something?" It's a fair question because let's be honest, when you've gone months or even years, feeling like your body is letting you down, it's hard to believe that something so simple could spark real change. And yet I've seen it happen time and time again, in the first few days. Most men don't notice major changes in their bedroom performance, but they do notice something subtle, a little more color in their face, slightly better focus, even an easier time getting out of bed in the morning. That's not random. It's the beginning of your circulatory system waking up again. By day 4 or 5, that nitric oxide boost starts to build. Blood vessels begin to open more freely. You may feel warmer hands and feet. Some men tell me they feel lighter, like their body isn't working quite so hard just to get through the day. Then comes day 7. This is where things get interesting. A few of my patients have reported waking up with their first spontaneous morning erection. In months. No medication, no external stimulation, just the natural result off blood, finally reaching where it needs to go. And it's not just the physical response, it's the emotional lift that follows. A sense of I'm backed up by the 2-week mark. Many men begin to see measurable improvements, stronger responses to touch, more consistent energy throughout the day, even lower blood pressure in some cases. And if you stay consistent for a full 30 days, it becomes more than a change. It becomes a foundation. I always remind my patients, the key is not perfection, it's consistency. You're not forcing your body, you're supporting it. And when you give your body what it needs, day by day, moment by moment, it responds. And here's the best part. This isn't just about erections or energy. Beets are doing something much deeper beneath the surface. They're supporting your long-term vascular health, the very system that keeps your brain sharp, your heart strong, and your manhood alive. So, let's take this one step further. What if this simple morning habit could become a ritual, a daily practice that not only improves performance, but helps you reclaim your identity as a man? In the next section, we'll explore exactly how that shift happens and why it's so much more powerful than just taking a pill. 9. The morning ritual. The morning ritual that reclaims masculinity. Erections. Masculinity. There's something sacred about the quiet of the morning before the noise, the distractions, the weight of the day settles in. For many of the men I work with, those early hours become more than just a time to eat or take a walk. They become a moment to reconnect, to remember who they are, to take back something they thought was lost, their masculinity. Now, I'm not talking about masculinity in the loud, performative way society often portrays it. I'm talking about the quiet strength, the grounded confidence, the calm knowing that your body still works, that it's still yours, and that you can still rise. Say every sense of the word. For so many of my older patients, building a morning ritual around something as simple as drinking beet juice becomes a turning point. It's no longer just about improving circulation or getting firmer erections, though those things absolutely matter. It becomes about showing up for yourself. Nourishing your body first thing in the morning says, I still care. I'm still fighting for me. And that message, spoken not in words but in action, starts to reshape your mindset from the inside out. I remember one man in particular, a 74-year-old widower who had spent the last few years in what he called quiet retreat. He didn't go out much, didn't feel like himself, but he committed to the morning habit every day. Beet juice at sunrise followed by a short walk and a few deep breaths. After 3 weeks, he told me, I feel like I've woken up. Not just physically, something else, something deeper. That's the kind of transformation we're talking about here. Because truthfully, it's not just about directions or blood flow. It's about identity. When you start your day with intention, with care, with power, your body begins to trust you again. And in that trust, healing begins. And there's one more piece of this I want to share, perhaps the most important of all. Because even with this ritual, even with the right foods and timing, most men still miss one thing. It's a simple truth that could mean the difference between short-term improvement and long-term restoration. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. 10. A final word from Dr. Khera. A final word from Dr. Khera. If you're still here with me, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you. Not as a doctor, but as someone who's walked beside thousands of men just like you. Men who've carried quiet shame, silent frustration, or a growing sense of disconnection from their own bodies. Men who've tried to laugh it off, tough it out, or simply accept that this is just how aging works. But I'm here to remind you, it doesn't have to be that way. The truth is, your body is still listening, still responding, still capable of change, even if the world has stopped expecting it of you. And sometimes all it takes is one small steady act of care, like adding Beets to your morning tea, to begin that ripple effect of healing. I've seen it happen in men who thought their best years were over, only to discover that strength and confidence were still alive inside them, just waiting for the right signal. I don't share these stories because they're rare. I share them because they're possible. And if you're willing to take that first step, not for anyone else, but for yourself, then this simple habit could mark the beginning of a new chapter. One where you stop managing symptoms and start reclaiming control. But let me be clear, this is more than a routine. It's a mindset, a decision. Every time you drink that beet juice or sit down to a better breakfast, you're sending a message to your heart, your hormones, your manhood. I'm still here and I still matter. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to wake up with energy again? To look in the mirror and feel connected to your body again? To know that the changes you're making are not temporary fixes, but real lasting steps toward the man you want to be. And now that we've uncovered the science, the habits, the timeline, and the deeper reason behind this transformation, there's just one final piece left. Because if you truly want to lock in these gains and protect everything you've worked for, there's a powerful conclusion waiting for you. One that brings it all together and shows you what's possible when intention meets action. Let's finish this journey together. Conclusion. Let this be the first morning of the rest of your life. Conclusion. By now, you've seen the full picture. You've learned that the real reason so many men struggle with weaker erections after 60 isn't just about testosterone. It's about circulation. You've discovered that beetroot, a simple and often overlooked vegetable, has the power to reignite nitric oxide production, restore blood flow, and bring life back to the parts of you that once felt lost. You've seen what happens inside the body when you eat it, how oral men just like you have experienced profound changes, and how timing, especially in the morning, can make all the difference. We've talked about what to avoid, the breakfast habits that unknowingly about your progress, and the healing power of building a ritual, something that not only supports your body, but reclaims your masculinity from the inside out. You've seen the realistic timeline of results from those subtle early shifts to the bigger transformations that emerge over time. And you've heard my personal reflections, not just as a doctor, but as someone who believes deeply in your potential to feel strong, capable, and to live again. So, here's what I want to leave you with. Don't wait for a better moment. Don't wait for more motivation, more research, or another wake-up call. You have everything you need right now, the knowledge, the tools, and the choice. One small act repeated each morning can build a rhythm of healing that touches every part of your life. Dish your energy, your confidence, your relationships, and your sense of identity as a man. No matter how many years you've lived, or how long you felt disconnected from the man you once were, that version of you is still there, waiting, ready. Beets are just the beginning. Let this be the first morning of the rest of your life. You're not done, far from it, you're just getting started. If this video spoke to you, if it helped you see your body in a new light, or gave you one small reason to hope again, I'd be honored if you gave it a like. It lets me know these messages matter, and helps others like you find the support they need. Feel free to share this with a brother, a friend, or someone you care about. You never know whose life you might touch by simply passing it along. I also welcome your voice in the comments. Type 1 if you're going to try this beet morning routine, or let me know how your journey's been so far. I read every comment, and I learn from each of you. And if you'd like to support this channel and help us reach more men with real, honest, and hopeful health content, you can donate through the link below. Every contribution helps us keep these videos free, trustworthy, and focused on what really matters, helping you reclaim your strength one day at a time. Thank you for watching, and thank you for taking your health into your own hands. You're not alone, and you're never too old to start again.